She was just a kid when it began, a grin on screen, a secret off it. Raven-Symoné matured in front of America. But behind the curtain, she was living a nightmare. And now, years later, she's finally sharing the truth. Not just about herself, but about him, the man the world once called America's father. The man who built an empire on false laughter and forced embraces. The man who, according to Raven, didn't just destroy innocence, he shattered lives. And one of those lives was Malcolm Jamal Warner's. He told me, "You'll vanish like Malcolm." And then Malcolm was gone. Let that sink in. A drowning. No witnesses, no genuine investigation, just a coffin flown home under a headline that felt too neat, too quiet. But now Raven's voice is piercing through the silence. She's revealing hidden threats, deleted voicemails, leaked documents, and a pattern so dark it will make your pulse stop. Because she's not just exposing abuse, she's exposing murder. What happened to Malcolm wasn't an accident. It was a warning, a silencing, a signal to everyone else who dared to challenge the monster behind the mask. And Raven, she's done being quiet. She's naming names, holding proof, and calling it what it truly is. Murder wrapped in a smile. This is not just another scandal. This is betrayal soaked in terror, buried in Hollywood shadows. And if what Raven says is real, then the most cherished TV legacy in history is built on blood. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear will break you. She wasn't meant to speak. She was meant to smile, wave, and fade into Hollywood's memory like every other child star. But Raven-Symoné didn't fade. She waited. She watched. And when the moment came, she spoke. And the world hasn't stopped trembling since. In a good, no-holds-barred interview that has sent Hollywood into a tailspin. Raven revealed what many feared and what some already murmured behind closed doors, that Bill Cosby didn't just harm women. He silenced the men who tried to stop him. And one of them was Malcolm Jamal Warner. Let that settle in your heart for a second. America remembers Malcolm as the clean-cut, good-hearted son from The Cosby Show, the one who never got into trouble, the one who kept his head down, worked hard, stayed modest. The one we all grew up with. But behind the curtain, Malcolm was changing. As Raven tells it, he was growing fearless. He started asking questions, testing boundaries, demanding clarity. On set, and worst of all, he was distancing himself from Cosby's shadow. That's when the tension began. That's when Cosby's fake fatherly warmth turned icy. And that's when Raven overheard the sentence that's haunted her ever since. "He's getting too loud. We might need to silence him." She was only a teenager. She didn't know what it signified. But now, after everything, she knows precisely what it meant. Malcolm wasn't just a colleague. He was a danger. And in Hollywood, dangers don't get ignored. They get erased. Raven says Cosby pulled her aside one day, calmly, casually, like a man ordering lunch. And he said, "If you ever go against me, you'll vanish just like Malcolm will." Those words froze her spirit. She didn't speak. She didn't blink. She just nodded. Because what do you do when the most influential man in your career just looked you in the eye and threatened your life? But it didn't stop there. Raven says Cosby had spies everywhere, in her dressing room, in her trailer, in her suite. She'd hear things repeated back to her that she'd only said in secrecy. Notes would be slipped under her door, empty notes. Just a reminder, we're watching. And then Malcolm went on vacation to Costa Rica with his spouse and daughter. A break. A reset, a chance to inhale. But he never returned. The headlines read, "Malcolm Jamal Warner dies tragically in drowning mishap." But Raven knew the moment she saw it, it was a lie. She hadn't spoken to him in weeks. But she remembered their last conversation backstage between takes. He leaned close and said, "One day I'm going to reveal everything. But first, I have to make sure my family's safe." That instant stuck with her. And when he died, it devastated her. She didn't cry. She didn't shout. She froze because she knew it wasn't just a death. It was a warning. But the world moved on quickly, too quickly. The funeral was hurried. The investigation ended. The files locked. Autopsy results stalled. Questions ignored. And then came the call. 'Twas Cosby. Out of nowhere, he said just one thing before hanging up. Now you realize what happens when people talk. Click. That's when Raven broke. That's when the fear turned into fury. She disappeared from the public eye, cut all ties, left the business. But she wasn't hiding. She was gathering. 'Cause if she was going to talk, she needed evidence. Cam baby, she owns it. Voicemails, old flash drives, encrypted chats, backstage recordings, names, dates, threats. She kept it all. And in her interview, she said one thing that rattled the internet to its core. Cosby didn't just hurt me, he murdered Malcolm, and now everything's unraveling. A source from NBC's archival unit confirmed that there was footage. A heated argument between Cosby and Malcolm on set, just months before his death. The clip was marked corrupted, lost, unusable, but a 17-second leak hit Reddit last week. No audio, but you can watch it. Malcolm standing firm. Cosby flushed, teeth clenched, jabbing his finger, and then Malcolm walking away. A former set tech says he heard Cosby mutter under his breath, "You talk and you're done." But Malcolm was going to speak. According to Raven, he kept a digital diary. Encrypted folders, voice memos, secret agreements. He called it his life shield. And guess what? It disappeared the day after his death. Gone from his iCloud, gone from his phone, gone from his MacBook. But the data logs, they show his cloud account was entered 6 hours after he died from an IP address in Los Angeles. Not Costa Rica, not his wife, not his daughter. And guess what's 2 blocks from that IP ping? A property owned by a shell corporation tied to one of Cosby's old attorneys. Coincidence or cover-up? Because now whispers are turning into roars. An anonymous source claims Malcolm was about to go public with files that showed Cosby's production company was illegally channeling money using the names and likenesses of former cast members without their consent. And whose name was on those contracts? Raven Symoné. He told her. He showed her. And that's why she believes he died, because he was done protecting people. He was going to reveal them. And instead of justice, he got silenced. But Raven isn't scared anymore. She's ready. She has attorneys. She has backups. She has witnesses. And soon she says she'll release a recording Malcolm left just 5 days before his death. She won't reveal what's on it. Not yet, but she ended the interview with this. It's the truth is coming. And when it does, I hope they hide. The truth is coming. That's what Raven said. But what if the truth is already here and it's being buried alive? In the days after Raven's shocking interview, Hollywood didn't just go quiet. It panicked. Emails disappeared. Social media accounts went dark. Former castmates began scrubbing their profiles clean. And then came the legal onslaught. Letters. One from Cosby's legal counsel, another from a legacy production house tied to the Cosby Show reruns. They alleged defamation. They alleged contract breaches. They alleged she was stirring up false recollections. But Raven, she's not stepping back. In fact, she's doubling down. "I was a kid," she said in a live stream, eyes puffy from crying. "They told me to smile, to stay quiet, to keep the image clean. But now I'm breaking the image. I'm breaking him." And she's not alone anymore, because someone else just stepped forward. Someone no one predicted. Tempest Bledsoe, the actress who played Vanessa Huxtable. She went live on Instagram. 10 minutes of silence, just her face, and then she whispered one line. Y'all don't know the half of it. Then she ended the stream. Was it confirmation, a plea for help, or a warning that she's next? No one knows. But what followed shattered any doubt that something dark was lurking behind those studio walls. A leaked internal memo from NBC's legal department surfaced, dated just 3 days after Malcolm's death. Subject line: preemptive narrative strategy. Warner vacation incident. It wasn't grief. It wasn't shock. It was damage control. They were already spinning the story before his body was even returned home. And that memo, it listed 3 priorities. Confirm accidental drowning with local officials. Delay press inquiries. Ensure all Warner digital materials are accounted for. Digital materials. That means his phone, his laptop, his diary, and here's the twist. A Costa Rican hotel worker has now confirmed that someone checked out Malcolm's room early using a master key card registered to a visiting press rep. The name on the visitor log redacted, but the signature matches that of a known NBC crisis coordinator. Now, tell me again how this was just a misfortune, because even in death, they were wiping it clean. But it's what Raven uncovered next. That's turning this case into a digital war zone. You see, she never erased Malcolm's old messages, and one of them, dated 2 weeks before his death, simply said, "If I go quiet, it wasn't my choice. Tell ICE." That's it. 3 words that flip this entire story upside down. Tell ICE, as in Ice Cube. Why him? Because sources close to Cube say that Malcolm reached out sharing encrypted files about shady money trails and backdoor deals tied to Cosby's empire. He trusted Cube because Cube had been through it before. Silenced, blackballed, but never broken. And now Cube is bankrolling a private investigation. He's hired former FBI agents, cyber defense analysts, and even flown in forensic divers to revisit the site in Costa Rica because he got the email too. The one from Malcolm. Subject line: "If something happens to me, tell the truth regardless." The body of the email empty, just an attachment labeled Rael, ZIP. That file is still damaged, but the metadata shows it was created on a MacBook Pro registered to Malcolm's production company. The same laptop that's now missing? Coincidence or proof erased? And let's not forget the voicemail. A distorted, chilling message leaked to an underground podcast. The speaker's voice is concealed, but experts have studied the pauses, the tone, the cadence. They believe it's Cosby. And here's what it said. This isn't a warning, it's advice. Walk away. Don't let that girl get in your head. This isn't your truth to tell. That girl, Raven, was Malcolm preparing to stand with her to support her claims to help her reveal the monster hiding behind fake laughs and fatherly charm. If so, now we know why he had to be muted. Because 2 days before his death, he called. Raven, she missed the call. But the voicemail he left, she hasn't shared it. Not yet. But she played a snippet during her live documentary preview. It was just 1 sentence, I'm afraid. But I can't stay silent anymore. Then static. And then nothing. The last words Malcolm ever said to her. Trapped in a phone. Trapped in time, and now the world is listening. Hashtags are trending. Hashtag justice formal. Hashtag RavenXPodCosby. Hashtag truth behind the curtain. YouTubers are dissecting old episodes frame by frame. Reddit sleuths are comparing signatures, timestamps, email headers. TikTok is flooded with reenactments, breakdowns, and deep dives. But the real storm? It's coming from the courts because Raven has confirmed that she's preparing to testify in a sealed civil case related to Malcolm's estate. Originally filed as a money dispute, it's now shifting into wrongful death territory. Why? Because private investigators found 3 major irregularities in Malcolm's Costa Rican autopsy. Conflicting time of death notes, missing toxicology reports, a 48-minute surveillance gap in the hotel hallway where he was last seen. And guess who accessed his hotel room 3 times that night using a master key? Still unidentified. But security logs show the activity and someone's trying to wipe them. They're terrified, and they should be, because Raven isn't just accusing Cosby of misconduct. She's not just calling out Hollywood hypocrisy. She's building a murder case step by step, file by file, voice by voice. And she's not alone anymore. Malcolm's mother has broken her silence too. In an emotional interview, she said, "My son didn't drown. He didn't slip, he didn't fall, he was taken. And those who did it know exactly who they are." That one sentence more powerful than any lawsuit because it wasn't just a statement. It was a battle cry. And the movement is growing. Ravens, new Duries, they tried to silence me, is already gaining momentum. She's promising leaked recordings, internal memos, private conversations, and hidden footage. Stuff the networks don't want you to witness. And at the center of it all, a man who died trying to speak out, and a woman who refused to let his story be buried. Malcolm didn't drown in water. He drowned in secrets, in silence, in a legacy built to look flawless on camera and toxic behind it. But Raven's not filming sitcoms anymore. She's filming truth, and it's ugly. It's heartbreaking, it's dangerous, but it's real. Stay tuned. If he wasn't supposed to die, he was supposed to speak. He was supposed to finally tell the world the truth behind the lies. But instead, he ended up in a body bag. And now, the one woman who stayed silent for decades has finally spoken. Raven Symoné, the face of calm, the heart of the Cosby legacy, just broke down in front of cameras and exposed everything. Her voice trembled. Her eyes were full of pain. And her words shattered everything we thought we knew. Malcolm didn't drown. He was silenced. And the man behind it was Bill Cosby. Let that sink in. The man once called America's dad, now accused of orchestrating the murder of the son who trusted him most. And Raven, she's naming names. She's done protecting the fake smiles and hidden skeletons because Malcolm died begging someone to listen. He left behind voicemails. He left behind warnings. And in one haunting message, he said, "If something happens to me, don't let her speak at my funeral." She, the woman Raven believes, helped cover it all up. The one who smiled at cameras and handed tissues to Malcolm's mother on national TV, while allegedly burying the truth with the network. Lawyers. Because this isn't just about Cosby. This goes higher, much higher. Raven's investigation has now linked Cosby's shell companies to two former NBC executives, one of whom allegedly received consulting fees through an offshore account less than 1 week after Malcolm's death. And remember that missing laptop? A former New York storage contractor has come forward under a false identity, speaking with voice distortion. And what he says is terrifying. "I was paid $30,000 cash, no paperwork, to relocate a metal briefcase and 2 devices from a storage unit tied to a company called Pudding LLC. I knew who it belonged to. Everyone in New York knew that was Cosby's ghost company. Inside that briefcase, he swears he saw a laptop with the initials MJW etched into the bottom. Malcolm Jamal Warner's laptop gone, hidden, buried. But the secrets inside, they didn't die because Raven had backups. She had voicemails Malcolm sent to her. Via email, she had clips from backstage. She had messages. And one of them was recorded just 48 hours before Malcolm drowned. She played it. In the closing minutes of her live stream, a voice worn down, scared, broken. "They're watching me. I can feel it, but I'm not backing down. I have the files. I've made copies. If you're hearing this, I'm gone. And if I'm gone, it wasn't an accident." Silence, then static. That was the last time anyone heard from Malcolm until now, because Raven handed those files over to her legal team, to a federal investigator, and to an independent journalist who's now preparing a multi-part expose titled Murder in Prime Time. The world is watching. Hollywood is crumbling. And Cosby sources say his team is panicked. That multiple insiders have flipped. That a sealed grand jury inquiry is quietly underway. And it's not just about abuse. It's about murder, money laundering, obstruction, and corporate conspiracy. But here's where it gets worse. A former Cosby Show writer has now revealed that two other cast members had previously expressed fear privately that if Malcolm talked, they'd all go down. One of them has gone dark. The other was seen entering a federal building in Los Angeles last week, wearing sunglasses flanked by two attorneys. They're not speaking publicly yet, but the whispers are now roars. Oh, old footage from the set is being reanalyzed. Fan forums are identifying strange glances, off-script moments, cuts that never made sense. And when aligned with Raven's timeline, it tells a story. A story of fear, of manipulation, of control. And then came the biggest blow of all, Malcolm's mother. For years, she stayed silent, grieving quietly, refusing interviews, avoiding speculation. But today she released a statement. Her voice, calm but cracking, echoed through the press room like thunder. My son did not die in an accident. He was silenced. And I will spend the rest of my life making sure the world knows who took him from me. She held up a photo. Malcolm smiling, holding his daughter, wearing a red sweater. It's the same sweater Raven said he wore in a dream she had. The night he died, I saw him. Raven whispered during the live stream. In that sweater, in that house, the one from Brooklyn. He looked at me and he said just one thing. Don't forget me. I'll try to erase me, but don't. So now she's not forgetting, and neither are we, because the facts are too loud. The evidence too damning, the silence too suspicious. Who accessed Malcolm's digital files hours after his death? Why was that journal erased and replaced with a blank folder named Shut It? Why is NBC panicking about Raven's legal team demanding decades-old documents? Because, baby, this isn't the end. It's just the start of a storm. A storm Raven-Symoné just ignited the fuse for. Now we ask you, do you trust Raven? Do you think Cosby's legacy was a mask all this time? Do you believe Malcolm's death was just an accident? Or do you believe that it was a silent execution wrapped in a fake smile, buried beneath studio lights, and broadcast as just another tragedy? Because this isn't just a video. This is a movement. And now that the mask is off, there's no turning back. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Let your voice be heard. Share this with someone who still believes The Cosby Show was just harmless entertainment. Let them see what was hiding behind the laughter. 'Cause this time, the silence ends here. And we're not done digging. Take a breath, let it settle in. 'Cause if you've made it this far, you already know this wasn't just a tragedy. It was a setup, a silencing, a message wrapped in death. Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't just die, he was taken. Taken from his family. Taken from truth. Taken from a future he was ready to fight for. And now Raven-Symoné has done the one thing they never expected. She refused to stay silent. Ask yourself, how many others were silenced before her? How many more will fall if we say nothing? This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is a call for justice. So if this story moved you, if your heart broke the way ours did hearing Malcolm's final words, if you believe in truth and accountability in exposing monsters hiding in plain sight, then don't scroll away. Comment below. Let your voice be part of this movement. Share this video. Let the silence break wide open. Hit like if this shattered what you thought you knew about Hollywood. Subscribe if you're ready for more truth they don't want you to hear. Because this is more than a video. It's a fight. A fight for Malcolm. A fight for every victim who was told to smile, shut up, and survive. And now we're done surviving. We're exposing. They tried to bury the truth, but they didn't realize we are the storm. Hashtag justice formal. Hashtag Raven Cosby. Hashtag truth behind the CEN. We're just getting started.